In Part 1, you will have seen how the railway was conceived and constructed and observed its early days of running. In Part 2, we saw how I became converted to battery power and discovered the delights and increasing complexity of Deltang radio control. We have now reached 2016. I have become fascinated by Deltang radio control and explored almost every facet of it, and so when, owing to overload of work, the brains behind Deltang, David Theunissen, announced he was no longer making transmitters, I contacted him and asked if I could construct and market my own versions. A deal was struck and RC Trains was born. The basic circuitry of the transmitters remained the same, but I remodelled the exterior and introduced a new basic style of transmitter. I also stocked receivers and a range of accessories. What I had expected to be a part-time sideline became an almost full-time job. I constructed over 200 transmitters in a year and sold well over 300 receivers. In the end, it all became too much, and so after nearly 18 months of entrepreneurship, I handed over the business to a fellow modeller and electronics whiz, Phil Partridge. In spite of this, I did find time to do some work on the railway. A second-hand Bagnall joined the fleet, together with a rake of timber wagons. These were given the Peckforton light railway treatment, and the loco entered service as number 11, Bunbury. My first ever garden railway loco, an LGB Staines, was finally converted to battery power and radio control. Initially, I did a very basic conversion, using a battery pack and a receiver in a trail car, plugging the feed from the receiver into the socket on the back of the loco. However, tugging a trail car around is a nuisance, and so before long she was reconverted, with a pack of 3 14500 lithium-ion cells on the floor of the cab, and the receiver strapped to the back of the driver. A customer, and now good friend, from Tasmania, asked me to convert his Staines, and so, for a while, Peckforton Light Railway boasted 2 Staines locos. Well, of course, I had to find out just how powerful a Staines double-header could be. 43 wagons, up a 1 in 40 gradient, with just a hint of wheel spin. In the summer, I had a visit from Zach Bond of the Deben Valley Railway, who brought one of his fine collection of vintage live steamers. And I found some time to add a few details to the yard at Beeston Market, and a level crossing just outside Peckforton. I even found time to run some trains, though, as time was short, I compressed 2 days running into around 10 minutes. In 2017, I finally got around to turning my faithful old Staines loco into something which might legitimately be seen running on the Peckforton Light Railway. The side tanks were lengthened, and a new chimney and dome provided. The motion was simplified by removing the valve gear, and a Dolly DC version 3 sound card installed. Although the conversion wasn't inspired by any particular loco, the large square windows remind me of the Bay of Peacocks, which run on the Welshpool and Llanfair Railway. After buying a rather battered LGB toy train Otto loco, I tried to think of something quite different to convert her into. I tried cutting down the cab to create a simple half cab, but then saw a video of the Kettering Furnaces 040 locos, and when I discovered that one was preserved at Penryn Castle, her fate was sealed. Not an exact scale model, but hopefully she looks reasonably close in appearance to the original. She has a My Loco sound card and has been designated as Loco number 14, Burwoodsley. My leak and manifold-ish coaches had interiors fitted, made mostly from balsa wood. In addition, lighting was fitted, triggered by a magnet being waved over the roof of each coach. Having accumulated more than sufficient goods stock, coaches and locos, I felt it was about time to focus my attention on the line-side industries, which are served by the railway. The sawmill at Peckforton is a loose interpretation of a working sawmill, with a stationary steam engine and lay shafts driving the machinery. Further down the line, Peckforton grist mill was constructed from PVC foam board. The sluice gate does actually work, and so the rate of flow and the speed of the wheel can be varied. And finally, I felt it was about time Peckforton Light Railway had a crest. The Tollmache coat of arms has been incorporated, as my mythical history of the line suggests that the Lord Bentley Lionel Tollmache was a benefactor and prime motivator for the railway. A monogram was also devised, and sent to a fellow modeller, who laser-cut plastic frames for bespoke Peckforton Light Railway seating. In 2018, another small diesel loco was constructed from a couple of Houston Gate Loco Works kits. I really like these kits. They're easy to build, the mechanism seems to be fairly robust, and they come with four-wheel drive as standard. Loco number 15, Doris, as she became, is usually found pottering around the sawmill sidings at Peckforton. After seeing a brand new Newquay van on sale for under £20, I decided to give it a try. A few cuts with a razor saw, and it was turned into a half-decent closed van. Similarly, an LGB American-style boxcar was converted into yet another passable closed van. So, why this sudden obsession with closed vans? Well, I had constructed a loading bank at Buckley Station, cast in situ in concrete, so that soft fruit from the local farms could be loaded up for transportation to market. While I was at it, two very cheap Chinese gondola cars which I had bought 10 years ago were similarly bashed into something which doesn't look too out of place on the Peckforton Light Railway. As far as I'm concerned, you can never have too many open wagons. I have always stuck with LGB hook and loop couplings, as they are cheap and very reliable, something which is essential when a lot of shunting is required. But they look ugly and unprototypical. I decided to make my own, less obtrusive versions from wire. They are cheap, quick to make, and just as effective, but more importantly they are compatible with LGB couplings, which meant I could replace them piecemeal over a period of time, well, actually 3 years, without having to withdraw any stock. After 9 years, a decent representation of Beeston Castle was made to sit on the crag overlooking the station. Carved from thermalite blocks, and then coloured with cement dyes, the castle looks quite impressive, though it is only a shadow of the real castle which overlooks the Cheshire Plain. The forecourt at Beeston Market Station was also landscaped and developed. A tea room has been installed, based on a photo of the real tea room, which was situated between the wharves adjacent to Beeston and Tarpley Station on the Crewe to Chester main line. A boiler house for Peckforton sawmill was constructed from PVC foam board, or Foamex. At the same time, a water tower was made from offcuts. I felt it was about time locos on the Peckforton Light Railway were given a drink. Meanwhile, new sidings were steadily appearing around the railway. One at Buckley, one at Beeston Castle, and a long one just outside Bickerton Station. Clearly, something was going on. Looks like you're going to have to watch part 4 to find out.